Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Hi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Course 103. I am Maricel De Leon, Manager from Office of Small Business Development, School District of Pan.
Recording in progress.
I am so excited that you can join us today. Just a quick review from last week. You were fantastic giving us responses, and your participation was really appreciated. Some of your feedbacks, key takeaways were the difference between insurance and surety bond. Some mentioned that you appreciate the information being prepared before you apply for a small business loan and the tool for cash flow management. So thank you for providing all of this feedback to us. And just a quick reminder, we would appreciate if you could put your full name in the Zoom room so we can identify you. Take this as also as not only a learning opportunity but a business networking event where you want to be identified of what type of business you do. So it's like a name tag. You put your first name and your last name, and then what do you do? Like I've seen someone a while ago saying, like for example, Bill Kennedy, he put instructor. We know that's the service that he does. And so if we need that type of service, by the way, he's an instructor for project management. And so that's something that we can connect with. So feel free to do that. Put your full name, and it will also help with attendance. Giving you credit for attendance if you are interested with getting certificate and badge. So if you don't know how to do that, you go to hover your cursor at the bottom, click participants, find your name, and then on the right side, you will see a video icon. It will turn into three dots, and then click rename, and then type in your first name and last name, and then tell us, what do you do? Are you an electrical contractor? Are you plumbing? Do you provide plumbing service? And that way we get to know each other, because we're going to be spending our time, for the next 5 more sessions or 6 more sessions, right? And we would be good to see you in person on July 10th, and seeing you virtually. Aside from that, PBSC students, we are so excited about you submitting your reflection. We have a good news for you. Today, you don't need a separate link to submit your reflection. All you need to do is, at the end of the session, there is a survey for everyone, and there is a special portion for you to fill out your reflection included in the survey, so you won't miss that link, because before you end this session, that survey will pop up and you can put your reflection there. You can always contact Patricia Alvarez, and you can see her in our list today. She's your point of contact if you have any question about reflection for PBSC. So now I'd like to turn it over to Stephanie.
There we go. The camera wouldn't come on. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As Maricel shared with you, it is really important to make sure that we have evidence of you attending. So many of you have shared with me that I was in attendance, but I didn't get the links. If you don't either fill out the attendance form that's in the chat, or if we don't see your name and the participants for Zoom sends us an attendance sheet as well, then we can't give you credit for being in the class. We have to know you're here. We have to know your email address. And that way you'll get anything that we are sending in the follow-up email. If we don't have that information, we can't get it to you. So if your name on the participants list right now is iPhone, do exactly what Maricel said. And please find yourself in the participants, click on those 3 dots over to the right, and go ahead and change your name to your first and last name, and then share a little bit about what you do with your business name, or if you're a student or so forth. That will help us greatly to make sure you're getting the information that comes from each of these sessions. And also, if you're interested in getting the badges and or the certificate, we'll make sure that you do that as well. Okay. So if you're not certain, how to change your screen name, just shoot me a personal message and I'll send you the information in the chat. Let me go through these again. To get the badges, we do have to have you in attendance. Viewing the recording afterwards does not count as attendance. You must be in attendance with us. And then you must also complete that end of course survey. As Maricel said, the course survey will pop up at the end when you exit Zoom. So please do make sure that you complete that. There's also that special reflection question for students only. So if you're not a student, it's not required for you to complete that. If you want to, that's fine, but it's not required of you. We can gather enough information from our general participants and business owners in the other questions. But for the students, we are asking you to do that last reflection question, and that will be due by Sunday evening. Monday morning, that link will be shut off and you won't be able to respond. So that does need to be done by Sunday. And I think the last thing is just, again, go to our Small Business University catalog for information about upcoming sessions. Make sure that you're aware of what's coming up. We've got a lot of great information tonight and for the remaining sessions. So please do be sure that you use that. It will be in the follow-up email coming to you later tomorrow. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Stephanie, and fantastic responses in the chat. And also, I can see your name. I'm excited to meet all of you. And this information will also help our presenters when they talk to you later on and connect to you, because they know what type of business you do, or if you're a future business owner. So right now, I'd just like to explain to you the structure of today's session. This is about ethical practices and legal compliance. So we have 2 presenters today. The first presenter is from Palm Beach State College, and he will talk about the ethical practices. The second presenter will be coming from Kaufman Lin, the chief legal officer from Kaufman Lin Construction. But before we proceed, I would like you to think about this question, since this is all about ethical practices and legal compliance. As a business owner, put your response in the chat. As a business owner, what kind of reputation do you want to build? Or as a future business owner, what kind of reputation do you want to build? Okay, I can see highly recommended and trustworthy from Bill Kennedy, proficient and dependable from Vienna, professional, positive and trustworthy, reliability. Great responses. And today, our presenters will actually give us an idea on how do we attain or achieve this type of reputation. Our first presenter is Professor Emmanuel Danso. Professor Danso completed his undergraduate degree at Rutgers University in Newark, New Jersey, and went on to earn a graduate degree from the University of Miami in Coral Gables, Florida. He is a certified public accountant with professional experience at Deloitte, one of the big four accounting firms globally. His time at Deloitte provided exceptional opportunities to work with Fortune 500 companies, laying a strong foundation in public accounting. He is currently a professor at Palm Beach State College, where he shares his knowledge and experience with the next generation of business professionals. In addition to his academic and professional pursuits, he is also an entrepreneur with a strong interest in small business development. Please join me in welcoming Professor Emmanuel Danso.
Thank you very much. You are very welcome. Without much ado, so let's set the ball rolling. So let me see if I can share. Yep, now you can see me. Okay. All right, so let me share my screen with you. One quick second. All right, so let me see.
Looking one here.
Second here.
Always the best looking one.
Okay.
Do you want me to share your screen, Professor Danso?
I think I got it. I got it.
Got it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes, if you can put it in percent mode.
All right. You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to talk about ethics in business. So what is it exactly is ethics? That is the moral principle that kind of guides our behavior. Now, it is interesting to note that this moral principle varies from one culture to another. But there's one fundamental principle, scholars, audience, that transcends above and beyond all cultures. And what is that? Thou shalt not steal. So the question is, at what age in our developmental life we know that stealing is bad? All right, now let's look at this expression, never got caught with your fingers in the cookie jar. Literally, if that happens, what do you get from your parents? Perhaps a slap on the wrist. That kind of tells you that, hey, what you're doing is wrong. You see, these are the kind of things that molds our behavior until we transform to adult life. Now, from college, those same ethical behavior will guide us, and even more importantly, when we get into the workforce, that is going to tell us how do we relate in the workforce. So based on those developments, we're able to know what is right from what is wrong. So why does ethics really matters in business? It's so important that it's going to foster trust in any business relationship. Back in the day, that's what we call the gentleman agreement. In other words, my word is my bond. Take, for example, I'm a vendor and I promise to deliver, let's say, 100 bags of cement to your site. We didn't sign any contract. I say, hey, By Monday morning, those 100 bags of cement will be at your construction site. And guess what? 7 a.m. Monday morning, those bags of cement are ready for you at your construction site. That is the gentleman agreement that my word is my bond. Remember, I said we didn't even have to sign any contract. So that is based on trust that I, the vendor, will surely deliver those items to your premises. So over a long period of time, that kind of trust develop into business success and customer relations. Now, in business, there's a section we call sale of goods. Under the sale of goods, the customer and the company, over a period of time, they must have developed a relationship based on trust. Take, for example, I am the company. I ordered 100 pairs of Nike shoes from the vendor. When those shipments came in, I opened the boxes. Instead of 100 pair of shoes, what did I find in the box? 150 pair of Nike shoes. What do? At the back of my mind, I'm thinking, these people, didn't they go to school? Don't they know how to count? Of course they know how to count. What they did was to push the sales. Now, on my part, do I act like I never received the excess 50 pair of shoes? No. Remember, we built a trust over a period of time. So, what I'll do is pick up the phone and say, hey, Nike company, I ordered 100 pair of shoes, let's say for $100 each. But you guys shipped 150 pair of shoes. This extra 50 pair of shoes, what do you want to do with them? They say, okay, rather than go through the hassle of shipping back and forth, why don't I keep the extra 50? But instead of paying $100 each, they're going to give me a discount. Let's say, okay, pay $70 on this extra 50. Notice it's a win-win situation. The Nike company has been able to make an extra sales of 50 pair of Nike shoes. I, on the other hand, have been able to reduce the unit cost of my purchase, all because we have built a trust over a period of time. Now, this is a good business policy, and like I said, over the long run, it leads to success and good customer relations. All right, now, besides the moral part of it, we have built a good reputation of being trustworthy. Such behavior can also mitigate lawsuits. In the event that I just decide to be dishonest and say, hey, no, when I opened those boxes, I counted 100 pair. The Nike company could decide to file a lawsuit. I mean, they will have all the evidence to show that they actually shipped 150 pair of Nike shoes. So, you want to avoid lawsuits as much as possible in your business transaction. So these are ethics, like I said, in building long-term success, right? It leads to customer trust as well as that of stakeholders.
Professor.
Yes.
If you don't mind, this is Jeff Zalkin with Kaufman Lane, one of the organizers here for SBU. If you don't mind me jumping in for a moment, the one thing which I want to tie all the classes together. So for those attendees, if you'll notice, what he's talking now with trust is another variation, basically word for the relationships. So you're developing relationships, and trust is a key part of that relationship aspect. And then if you take it to the last class with basically how to get paid and how to do that, when you have communications and you develop that integrity and transparency in the stuff you're covering, now you develop that trust and you're able to apply that to your process, and things go much smoother. So hopefully as attendees, you're seeing all these courses, even though they're different topics, they all sort of coalesce into one overarching message.
Thank you. All right, so most times in life, and in particular in business, we're faced with some ethical decision making. So what are these key principles of ethical decision making? Now, the first bullet point is that of integrity. It is doing the right thing when you know for sure that no one is looking over your shoulders. All right, online test environment. We ask our students to turn on their web camera, lock down browser. All those are technologies to make sure you're doing the right thing. But take away this technology. If I say, hey, take this exam online, can I trust you enough? You have the integrity that you will not cheat in that exam. It is that very moment that your integrity is being tested. When you know for sure nobody is watching over your shoulders and you do the right thing, that is what makes you trustworthy, and your integrity is being tested and you've been able to pass. Now, the second bullet point talks about transparency.
Professor Hernandez,
Yes.
Professor Dan, so I think there is a question a while ago.
Okay,
Who was raising her hand? Go ahead and ask your question.
let's go ahead.
Oh. Sorry, probably that went away.
Okay. All right, transparency. We're talking about sharing business practices and information to all interested parties. Now, when I was with Deloitte, we do a lot of audits of Fortune 500 companies. In the financial statement, there's what we call the notes to the financial statement. These notes are an integral part of the financial statement. What is a company expected to disclose in that financial statement is something like their inventory valuation method. And when this changes, take for instance, they change from LIFO to FIFO, last in, first out, to first in, first out. That has to be disclosed in the financial statement. If it is not disclosed, it could lead to a false financial statement. So that transparency in terms of documentations that these companies present to us for us to audit are very, very important. Accountability. This is taking responsibility for one's action or lack of action, decision and outcomes. You're probably familiar with this phrase, the buck stops here. For example, auditors hold companies responsible for the reporting of financial statement. Now, there have been real-world cases where companies failed to be accountable. If you remember the case of a Volkswagen company, there was an emission scandal known as Dieselgate. What happened was Volkswagen, they bypassed the technology that's supposed to detect emission problems in all their automobiles. But eventually this caught up with them, and guess what happened? the company CEO owned up, and the company had to pay millions of dollars in fines, and of course, Volkswagen CEO at that time had to step down. Conflict of interest. This usually happens when personal interest clashes with professional decisions. I don't know if you remember the case of Martha Stewart. Now, she was accused of insider trading, but her conviction was not so much on insider trading, but more so of lying about it. You see, she knew somebody gave her that information that, hey, look, this pharmaceutical company is not going to get approval for their new product. And what did she do? She decided to sell her stocks before it became a public knowledge. All right, the next bullet point is fairness in business operation. This simply means we got to treat our customers, employees, and vendors fairly, equitably, and even our students too. We got to treat everybody equally. I remember a particular incident. I went to the cafeteria. I saw 2 or 3 of my students on the queue. Oh, they recognized me and said, hey, good afternoon, professor. I said, oh, good afternoon, students. One of them was, professor, do you mind paying for our lunch? I said, yes. The money is not the issue, but here's the thing. In terms of fairness, if I have to do that for you, I have to do that for everybody in the class. And they kind of laughed it off. They thought I was trying to avoid paying for their lunch. I said, no, we're going to be very fair in dealing with people. All right. Any questions?
I'm going to sleep because I can't understand
All right,
you.
now